Sup my fellas, don't forget to leave feedback and enjoy the story. A girl wearing a dress here screams and runs to find out what's happening. At the start of the story, she knocks and inquires. As opens the door, he turns to her and says, "I need a healer." In a shaking voice, his leg turned black and the skin on his leg began to throb with veins. He begs her to bring a healer to him right away. As he sobs, this person arrived at the settlement. A few hours earlier, his leg had been hurt. He keeps hold of his cut hand. As he makes his way down the street, is overjoyed that he made it to the settlement and will soon be saved. Ross Tucker is an intrepid traveler from the Isle continent. He believes that the Black Wolves are entirely to blame. He was aware that they traveled in packs, but he wished there were fewer of them. He had no idea that he would come across a flock of 30 people. He was already matched in strength by these wolves. Additionally, they attacked in a group, and he was helpless. To contain them, he must first borrow money from the Adventurers Guild in order to pay for his healing. Sign the document after spending some time at the Adventurers Guild. This is a confirmation of payment. The girl claims his next reward will be reduced by the amount he borrowed. He must be aware that interest is paid separately. He appears to be in bad shape, so it would be better if he recovered here. Ross concurs and believes that the girl is correct. Of course, it will be better this way. He says his head is spinning. As he walks away, Raises wonders what would happen if passed away before getting to the church. As he leaves the Adventurous Guild, he hears a call from the person who is within the Adventurous Guild. When Ross hears a voice, the man asks if he needs a healer. Is that correct? He need not go all the way. The man asks to be allowed to cure him for a small fee, and Ross wonders who he is. He can pay once Hayhas recovered. Ross considers this man to be highly suspicious. He claims that because healers are paid so well, he should at the very least display is healer mark first. Many fake healers have appeared. As a result, the healer appeared. The Adventurers Guild offers this special skill. Ross believes that some individuals are attempting to display the genuine badge. What is he doing? He queries. He was asked to display his badge. The man claims that the Adventurers Guild didn't grant him a badge because he informed them that he couldn't heal. As he departs, Ross queries whether he is still a healer despite not knowing how to do so. Without a doubt, this man is insane. After looking over Rue's body, the man claims that claws were used to inflict the wounds. It was a strong beast based on how it was dismantled. He must have fought nearby because the wounds appear to be recent. Ross stopped when he said something unexpectedly. The man queries whether a black-maned wolf was responsible for the wound on his right arm, and it must have occurred as a result of his ankle slamming into a tree. Ruse turns to the man and questions how he was aware of everything. The man claims that even though he has no sign, he makes money by helping people. He will have to spend 600 gold to see the priest, but only 300 to see the adventurer healer. Why does he say this? Ross queries. He claims to be able to cure him for just 100 gold. Ross believes this man is unquestionably a con artist. He departs and advises him not to waste his life in such a way. He's a con artist. Did he really decide to leave the Gaikor? Is he cannot be helped by holy power? What is he saying? RZ wonders. He claims it will be excruciatingly painful. He will be able to find him because he was staying at that hotel if his wound hurts while he is sleeping, if they even stayed at the same hotel. Ross queries. After spending some time in the church, it appears that this man is insane, so he had better be avoided. The wound on Raz's arm starts to heal after the man casts Aspel. The priest claims that Mr. Ayer's power has healed all of his wounds. It costs 620 gold to pay. Iver will be responsible for defending this intrepid traveler in his future adventures for the work he had completed. Ross thanked him after leaving the church. He concludes that while priests are expensive, they are unquestionably effective. Although he does not feel entirely well, he is confident that he will soon feel better. His leg is beginning to change color that night, and his veins are swollen. RZ is unsure of the significance of the situation. He yells in agony and tells the girl how much his leg hurts. She needs to get a healer to him right away. He questions why this is happening to him, given Thade was healed by that kind priest. Why is that? So he suddenly recalled the individual who had recently claimed that a holy power would not be able to assist him, and that if his injury hurt in a dream, he could locate him. As other healers are ineffective, that person promised to be here the person who cannot heal. Is this at least he could state his name? The man claims that he forewarned him about how painful it would be. He's here, which is good. The healer, who is unable to heal, has shown up. He enters the space and greets him with a smile. Miss Julia needs to let him take care of his wound. Having agreed and thanked him, the girl exits the room. How did he feel after such an expensive treatment? The man next to him inquires as he settles in. Can't you see it? Asks Ross. He's a true healer, am I right? He requests that something be done about his leg because he is in great pain. It will cost him 300 gold pieces. Theman claims, and he must pay up front. RZ wonders if he must pay $300. After being shocked, if he doesn't want to be healed, he can choose to ignore The man says Ruse claims that earlier he had stated that the cost of the healing would be 150. Why did the cost double overnight? The man claims that this is case because the circumstance has gotten 3 times worse. He can contact another healer if he believes it to be too expensive. RZ snatches him up by the edge of his clothing and promises to give him his sword. That is all he can say. At this time maybe that will do for now. He will be able to sell this sword for at least 200 gold. Is it really worth $200? To Guy wonders as he examines the swords. Although he claims that the sword was handled roughly, it is clear that he valued the weapon highly. He declares that he will take him to treatment for 200 gold. When the sword in his hand starts to vanish, Ross thanked the man and expressed surprise that his sword had vanished. He queries whether he might perish as a result. He claims that he will now examine him. He squeezes his leg while claiming that if it were something fatal, he would simply kidnap him and treat him. As far as he could tell, there were some conditions that a holy force could not cure. Poison is one of those things. He receives something from him that he is to take. What is it? Asks Ross. It's black lingonberries, the man claims. When applied to a wound, the poison in this plant's leaves and stem paralyzes the victim. The presence of black-maned wolves close to this plant is due in part to this. Black lingonberries are very helpful to wolves because they drive prey into these bushes to calm a person. Ross queries whether he does not mean that he won't be able to walk any longer. He implores the physician to save him. Can anything be done to change the situation? The healer holds up a vial filled with a dark liquid. There is only one way, he says as he places it on the table. Ross is ecstatic and asks the doctor in a shaking voice how he wants to apply. Ide was extremely terrified as the doctor held a knife in his hands. This antidote, according to the guy, should be applied to an open wound. He too would prefer to heal as much as possible without touching. There is only one way to start. Even though he doesn't know who gave him the treatment, but did a great job of healing him, Raz affirms that the doctor is correct, as he recalls that priest Demon claims that, as he had previously stated, he lacks the ability to heal. He can't, not that he doesn't want to. That would be a more accurate statement. He can scream all he wants because he doesn't have any pain. Coles RZ, who is prepared to sob, tells the man to hold off because he is not yet ready. If he moves, he claims it will only get worse. Makes a cut along the poison area of the leg and then administers the remedy. To repeat it, he advises he simply needs to let go or exercise patience. He believes that using healing is acceptable, but is this the case? Always can try other techniques if he is unsure how to use healing. The healer of the all continent is probably this guy King S. Hien. When he opened his eyes 3 years ago, he was in an unknown cave. A new class has allegedly been assigned to the system window. This scene is exactly the same as other times that Kang Song Hien has seen it. His class is a healer according to the system window. Despite the mages and ubiquitous monsters, what does a healer mean? Inquires Kang Song Hei. Unfortunately, he is not the only person who was dragged here from the ground. He believes that it appears that this is not the earth and that he is in another world. Converse with one another. Now what's should they do? They must figure out a way to return home. They just got going. How are they already considering going back? She is correct, claims the other girl. She even enjoys it here because of the magic the man claims he has. A familiar must come back as soon as possible. Kang San Hien thinks this situation is very similar to a fantasy book, especially this window of statistics. According to the system window, his class is most likely a healer. Additional ether is a scale for inventory strength and endurance. He has 3 points for progress but none for current. He is curious about the question mark at the conclusion of his class. The other girl stands up and claims to be correct. They first need to figure out how to live. Although the monsters are terrifying, if they work together, then defeating them will not be so difficult. Each of them has already received their class and skill. Right, Kang Song Hai in wonders if they have the skills. The skills window is displayed. He has the cut skill, which allows you to cut anything with a sharp object. The god of language is skill that allows you to automatically translate any language. The skill of an observant look, because of which nothing will hide from his gaze. What does it all mean? Wonders Kang Song Hien. Healer is undoubtedly his class, but at the moment he lacks a healing skill. Kang Song Hien wipes the blood off his hands and says that he has finished his treatment. He shouldn't move for about 3 days, but the wound will recover quickly. Ross is overjoyed to still be alive. He is very grateful to him and says that if it were not for the doctor, he would have already died. Kang Song Hen says that he already told him that it's not fatal. He looks down at Ross's leg and thinks the wound is starting to look better in the meantime. Is he really capable of healing even without the healing skill? Ross says that he is very ashamed of the fact that he cursed at him yesterday and called him a swindler. Kang Song Hien says of writhing is fine. He often hears this, so he's already used to it. Who could trust a healer who doesn't have a healing skill? Ross thinks this doctor has a very broad soul. According to Kang S. Haeon, he finds it amusing to hear people ask him to save them and say things like that. He works because of this. Ross believes it is worthwhile to forget that he thought of him as a man with a broad soul. Evidently, he misinterpreted him. Bitbull after spending some time in the restaurant when Kang as Hyen descends the stairs, she approaches Miss Julia and requests one hotel suite. She says she will finish one hotel set soon and nods. Tumor calm. The Bitspu hotel employee is named Julia. While waiting for food, Kang Song-hyen wonders if he should fill out a magazine. At the table, he made a new habit for himself after coming to this world. He arrived in a place where there are monsters everywhere and a deadly infection. The Azul continent is the location where it is impossible to survive. Consequently, he started keeping a diary of his daily activities in an effort to figure out how to get back to Earth. Julia's agonized screams can be heard by Kang Song-hyen. He turns. He sees the wound on her finger. He came up behind her and inquired as to her well-being. Julia screamed in terror, claiming that he terrified her a great deal. She is asked to allow Kang Song-hyen to examine her wound. Julia claims that nothing bad happened and that everything is fine. He had grown very weary of these arguments. He makes use of the skill observant gaze. His eyes have a faint blue glow to them. A system window displaying the target's physical state damage appears in front of him. Abnormal bleeding has been discovered. Left index finger suffered a knife wound. According to Kang S-hyen, she only needs to have the bleeding stopped because nothing serious happened to her. He claims that she won't be able to cook if she injures her hands. Julia considers and says that and apologizes for the incident and requests that he examine her wound. He uses the bleeding control technique on her hand. He declares that he has finished treating her wound. Afterward, Jules thanks Dr. KH. He is informed by the system that he has earned 1 point. He anticipated that the therapy would help him gain 1 point. According to the system window, he can spin the roulette wheel once for 20 points. At the moment, he has 10 points since he has accumulated so many points. Kang Song-hyen believes they can start the roulette wheel repeatedly. The system informs the player that the roulette has been started and that the points remaining will be used. The system's roulette wheel appears in front of him. System windows displaying the results started to appear as soon as the roulette wheel stopped in front of him. He twice received 10 gold coins and 1 point toward the strength characteristic. According to Kang Song-hyen, the result of this roulette shouldn't be gold. He thinks he has finally acquired a new skill when he notices another system window. He has acquired the distribution skill, which converts the absorbed potion into energy and distributes it. According to the system window, when used, this ability increases the potency of potions by 30%, increased potion potency by 30%, while using it. According to Kang Song-hyen, is quite useful. He's finished eating, so why not give it a shot? He uses the absorption skill and takes the lesser healing potion. You are informed by the system when a healing potion is consumed. He now employs his distribution talent. The target's physical strength in the area where the skill was used has been restored. According to the system, isn't that cool? Wonders Kang Song-hyen. He will be able to administer this potion to patients as well. Compared to simply drinking a potion, it is much better. The man standing next to him waster as he waved his hand. The man collapsed to the ground and lay motionless for some time. He quickly rose and inquired as to his identity, asking for his pardon as Kang S-hyen if he really believes that a straightforwardly will suffice. The man questions. He unexpectedly came at him. They can assume that nothing happened because Kang S-hyen claims that he recovered his physical strength. The man observes that his indicator of physical strength is fully charged. He puts his sword away and asks as he approaches. He therefore proves to be a healer. He was unaware of this skill because he had never seen it before. He only recently arrived from the village. He just arrived. According to Kang Song-hyen, he comprehended him. He considers how this man might discover a talent that is only known to extraterrestrial beings from another planet. The man informs the revered healer that it appears to be fate Hewins to join their team. Right? Is he a member of the adventure party? Asks Kang Song-hyen. The man concurs and claims that they are merely hiring healers. There will be 4 of them if he joins, which is the perfect number for their squad. What is the goal of their squad? Inquires Kang Song-hyen. They will go monster hunting. The guy claims. What about the mission reward? Queries Kang Song-hyen. 200 gold coins. Are there? A plea from the guy. He considers the reward to be reasonable given that their squad lacks a healer. He ought to join them perhaps simultaneously. At the Guild of Adventurers, the adventurer in torn clothing requests permission from her healer to first demonstrate his skill. Naturally, the healer claims he can. He declares that he will be the squad's sole healer. As a bright glow emanates from his hand, the men who hired the healer are standing together at the Adventurers Guild. After some time has passed by grabbing the man by the shoulder, Kang Song-hyen informs Merrick that he informed him there would be 4 of them, including himself. He grabs his head and remarks that it appears that several healers were brought at once. I assume they are already aware of the mission. 200 gold coins are the prize. Each person will receive less as they increase In number do they both approve. Of it both healers claim that it is suitable for them. This guy won't give in the opinion of Kang Song Hyen. Is what he wants really what? He wants this is excellent, the guy says, and they'll work together. After that, Furiel is his name. After addressing him by name, Kang Song Hyen shakes his hand. The second healer observes them suspiciously while remaining silent. The entire group eventually makes its way through the forest. The man with the bow claims that having two healers makes him feel secure. The second healer believes that he will never forget that freak for what he did a while back. The second healer claimed that the only divine abilities he could use in the end were Blessing God, Shield, First Aid, Antidote, Restoration, Cleansing, Light, and Arrow of Light. Adventurers claim it's really cool. He is an extremely skilled healer. Rick turns and inquires regarding him. Kang S. Hyen says he can do it this way. After giving it some thought around him, a tremendous amount of red energy appeared. The explorers became a little frightened and inquired as to what else this is. At the moment, the second healer nibbles on his finger and purse how this haughty freak could brag about some obscure trick Hayhas never heard of. What monster are they aiming for, wonders King S. Hyen. Furiel claims that the sewage rat is their intended victim. They are enormous rats that inhabit the entire continent of Value. He was unaware that such a rare species of rat existed. For one rat, 200 gold coins. There is no easier task than this. Surprised King S. Hyen inquires as to his meaning. Have they never pursued exotic beasts? Furiel concurs and states that they haven't yet seen one. He marks that the second healer has been a healer for less than a year. As he takes a look at him, they need a lot more potions, according to Kang Song Hyen. To defeat the rare monster after they get back to the settlement, it would be better to start preparing after traveling. So far, Furiel questions whether they actually need to turn around. He should disregard it since all they are after is a rat. If he did not consume enough potions, the second healer inquires, it falls under his purview. He can leave because he is so terrified. Exhaling, Kang Song Hyen declares that he will leave. If that happens, all the explorers came to a complete stop. Stunned by this McKest second healer very happy. If he is certain about this, Furiel says he can't change his mind. They will lose this battle according to Kang Song Hyen, but he will be able to assist them. Currently, they only have to pay 300k per person. They chuckled and continued. Rick is asked by Furiel where he found this strange man, and the second healer waves and tells Furiel to look after himself. He questions whether this man has simply decided to flee from a rat. He will ultimately take this item, which is a rare item, and use it in his place. Later, Furiel appears from behind a tree and claims to have discovered the damned rat, which has paid 1,200,000 gold coins. They shouldn't be concerned about their stats, the healer says. If Furiel deems it acceptable, they may begin. While the other adventurers went on the attack, the healer stayed behind and used his abilities from a distance, but the rat quickly noticed them. Furiel leaps high above the rat and slams his fist into the ground while yelling, "This rat must die." He wonders where the monster went after observing that the rat was not in the area of his attack. The speedy rat sneaks up behind the archer, who sees Iten prepares to attack from behind. The rat squeaks loudly as violet energy envelops its body. His mana is quickly depleted as the healer wonders what kind of aura this is. Healer is asked how he is by Rick. He still find the healer assures them, and he will give them an attack boost if they move quickly. He is about to use the blessing skill when has suddenly stops and displays horror. The entire group of explorers notices it and wonders what it is. Numerous small rest-have appeared behind the rat and are scurrying toward it to attack. The archer is attacked by the rats, who then knock him to the ground and cause him to scream in agony. Furthermore, the rats attack Furiel, who is concerned for Henry. Healer was astounded and believes that this is mentally impossible to comprehend. Did they really lose that fast? Rick flees in terror while yelling. When the healer notices this, she assumes that the cowardly man is leaving on his sound. Sadly, he also lost all of his mana. Rick runs into the purple portal that appears in front of him. He apologizes to everyone before exiting the portal, promising to save them in his next life. Rick is running in his direction when the healer notices him and wonders why he returned. Rick claims that he left this place without a doubt. After descending into despair, the healer wonders if the rats are actually imprisoned here. After observing how they attack the man, he curses out loud as he realizes that it appears as though he will perish here. They appear to be in big trouble, says Kang Sanhan. After breaking the potion, he was aware that it would take place. The second healer is surrounded by healing energy, and he is a state ed by what he notices in front of him. Kansan asserts that they ought to have considered everything who would pay them that much cash for a single rat. If each of them pays him 500 gold coins, will assist them. When the rats smell the potion, they stop. His sudden appearance surprises the second healer. Woe inquires about his health. He was prevented from answering by Kang Sanhan, who warned that the rats would soon attack them. Mark Bello, you mentioned using the God Shield, didn't you? The healer is alarmed by his inquiry. He grabs his head and says, I really can, but I have no potion and absolutely no mono left. Kang Sonyeon becomes aware that He's totally insane. Does that imply that all he needs his mana? He inquires. He uses the absorb skill after taking Febu potion bottle. When a mana potion is consumed, the system alerts the user. He employs the distribution skill, which boosts the potion's potency by 30%. As a result of its application on the healer, he applies the talent. When Mark Bello opened his eyes, he questioned whether a skill had been used to restore his mana. His teacher once inquired as to whether there was a skill that could replenish mana. Does he genuinely believe that these abilities exist to use skills he needs? He shouldn't attempt to take the simple route. The great god alone is capable of performing this. Mark Bello examines Kang's Hien. He performs an action on him. Who is he even? He asks in a shaking voice. Himar Murfra Ivilla Gravit, or perhaps Shal. He collapses to his knees and berates his miserable and unworthy slave for being so impolite to him. He promises Muriver that he will keep what he saw today a secret from everyone. If he tells him the truth, Kangxian believes that the man might faint from embarrassment. Rats in great numbers congregate next to the adventurous bodies. They are given a kick by Mark Bello, who also orders them to leave. The great Ivor should permit him to use this great sacred power, he says in a spell as he raises his hands in front of him. He wields the god shield with grace around him. A magical wall materializes that drives the rats away. This is noticed by Kang Sanhin, who interprets Ito's proof that he didn't exaggerate his skill level. Mark Bello alerts the great lord to his accomplishment. Agreeing, Kang Sonyeon says that while he can now do whatever he pleases, the most important thing is to keep him from being distracted. The man concurs with his boss be breaking a bottle of potion that he summons. Kang's Hien drives the rats away. He believes that this trap is what makes this task so valuable. In terms of money, rare monsters have a special ability called dominance that enables you to gather and control others of your species. The monster uses the Space Lord ability to trap the adventurer in a miniature dungeon if they get scared and try to flee. He then prepared the world's pesticide called peppermint concentrate was in the bottle. He broke even small animals can be killed by peppermint leaves, though not enough rats can be killed by this amount. Jumping over the enormous rat, Kangxin employs the distribution technique. He believes the distribution skill will change the situation because the monster's defense has been compromised. He clings to the rat's hide and strikes the rat's head with the slash ability around the rat. A tremendous amount of purple aura appears when the rat begins to move forward. Kang Sun Hien finds it difficult to maintain its balance. When he turns around, he sees damned rat running into a tree. At a high rate of speed, the rat strikes a tree. He was able to jump off the rat and believes it to have been hazardous. The rat's purple aura grows stronger, and he notices that it is once more using its dominant skill. Mart bellows, say a magic spell. Trust in the man who comes after Iver. Mercy to the Iver-believing man. He believes that since he himself told him not to distract him, he shouldn't do so. He opens his eyes to discover that small rats are already attacking Kang's Hien. He informs the powerful lord that he will now make use of the healing talent while using the allocation skill on a regeneration potion. Kang's Hien and declines. The system alerts him that the effects of a regeneration potion are restoring his health. It will take some time for recovery to continue. According to Kang's Hien, his stats are good so far. To finish the rat before the potion wears off, he must now act quickly. The little rats are too numerous, so he pushes them away from him. He is lifted into the air when a large rat approaches and bites him on the leg. Kangson discovers that his foot is inside of a sizable rat's mouth. He grabs the wallet, uses a dagger to stab the enormous rat in the head. The rat releases Kang's Hien. As a result of this blow, and Hethan drops to the ground. The system alerts that bleeding from the monster's bite has caused an abnormal condition. To appear, the regeneration potion's effects have been reversed. He questions whether this monster is currently causing him to bleed. The rare monsters seem to be quite intelligent. He heals his leg by employing the bleeding control ability. Kang Son observes that a more menacing aura is forming around the enormous rat. The system alerts him that a dominant skill has hit him and has weakened him, as a result causing damage and mana consumption to increase by to Hackensider's dominance to be excessive, who will be able to use skills normally. If this monster reduces the opponent's mana supply by half, the rat squeaks loudly and rushes in his direction. If the rat is aware that he does not use mana, Kangson asks. He also charges the rat, and when it was close enough, he used his slash ability to slash the rat with his dagger, striking it in the neck. His dagger pierced a large rat's throat sufficiently. He made a quick movement with his hand to remove the dagger from the monster, which caused the enormous rat to fall to the ground, while the children simply fled from him. Kang Sun Hai and examines his entire body and notes that his arms, legs, and ankle all appear to be in good condition. He exhales and claims that he truly believed he would pass away this time. In front of his face, A system window with message achievement received appears. Rare 1v1. You can complete this achievement by taking down a rare monster by yourself. He will receive his reward. He expresses his happiness and claims that he was finally successful. It was unquestionably worthwhile. Mart Bello approaches him while yelling, "Great Master," and waving his arms. Kang Sonyeon believes he came close to not achieving this goal. Fortunately, the heal was cancelled. In the middle by Fatwen, he requests the reward. The system displays a roulette wheel in front of him. He wonders if a roulette wheel will also be used to determine the prize. The system informs him that he now has a new skill. The throwing skill raises throwing damage by 100%, accuracy by 100%, and other effects by 25%. Kang Son Hyan questions whether he has the ability to attack. He was hoping for better. The line about additional effects caught his eye. Actually, the likelihood of instant death increases to 26% if he throws poison, with a 1% chance of doing so. It truly is amazing. However, what is it? Mart Bello, who has just come running to him, is requesting his great master interrupt him. At this point, he is noticed by Kang Seon, who compliments him on his work. Mart Bello, who is beaming with joy, claims that they could only have survived because of him. He will remain silent until his passing. Kang Seon advises him to skip this nonsense and instructs them to wake up the others instead. Mart Bello concurs and employs their resurrection ability when approaching the adventurers' dead bodies. One by one, the explorers started to regain their composure. When Farrell awakens, he queries what transpired. He asks what is going on after opening his eyes to the bloody head of a large rat in front of him. How did he sleep, wonders Kang Seon, turning his head away. What does this mean? A more terrified Farrell asks with a trembling voice, did he kill that monster, or someone else did he believe that the rat died of old age? Wonders Kang S. Hyan. Farrell questions whether he really did defeat this monster by himself. Each of them will have to give him $30. According to Kang Hyan, he says a quick thank you. They do recall what he had previously told them, right? Farrell concurs and assures him that they will pay him. Kang Sung visits the rat corpse. After remembering something, the adventurers all turn to stare at him in shock. He dissects the rat's body, believing there is something else inside. He specifically came here to accomplish that. The rat extrudes a small stone, and he declares that he will also take this for himself when he receives a rare item. The system notifies him after some time has passed. Kang Hyan receives his compensation and claims that he is now even slightly ashamed. Farrell asserts that given their gratitude for his saving them, he has nothing to be ashamed of. They should let Kang Hyan buy them a drink, because he says he learned about this task from them. Henry informs them that they will be visiting their hometown tomorrow, so they must wake up with a clear mind. The three of them, according to Farrell, are from the same village while trying to make some money, so they wouldn't be adventurers any longer. They nearly ended up having a joint funeral. Kang Sonyeon asserts that he comprehends them. He believes that while adventurers run the same high risk as everyone else, they can quickly make a significant amount of money. Farrell says they will now say their goodbyes the next time the chance arises. He might buy them a drink. Kang Soo-in apologizes and waves to them. He turns and inquires about himself. Mart Bello claims to not consume alcohol. In that scenario, according to Kang Hyan, he can imagine that they will no longer be acquainted. He'll follow suit. Mart Bello concurs with the Great Lord and asserts that this must imply that he must conceal his identity for the time being. He quietly declares that he is still insufficient as he flees Towitness, the true ascension of the great god. He needs more time to prepare. Kang Son and questions whether he accidentally transformed a regular man into a sleepwalker. There is nothing he can do about it, he says as he turns to walk away. He must now assess the object he obtained from the enormous rap later in a location where artifacts are reassessed. The long-haired man welcomes him to the artifact appreciation shop run by the Adventurous Guild. They can only use items acquired from monster hunting once the crystals enclosing them have been removed. According to Kang Hyan, he came here to admire this object. The man says he will look right away. He places the stone that was given to him in the apparatus and is shocked by what he observes. If this item is better than anticipated, Kang Hyan wonders. Themen promises to begin right away. He touches the thing with his hand and a bright glow emanates from it. The man examines this object with a cunning expression before declaring that the task is finished after some time. This is an amulet of small life, a Kagr artifact. This thing costs about 80 gold coins, but he can get 120 gold coins for it if he sells it to their store. A potion is removed from a bottle and dripped onto the rock by Kang Hyan. The man queries his activities. This is a lad as a potion, according to Kang Hyan, and it is well known in the north. When something comes into contact with blood, it reacts violently. He pulls a knife from his pocket and claims to have killed that rare monster with it. So that's how it is. The man inquires why is telling him this. The Ladasha potion is dripped onto the dagger by Kang Hyan, who claims that although it appears clean because It was washed. The weapon still contains the blood. They can now see the man queer. Is whether this implies that the object that emerged from the monster's body would need to react even more than this knife if Samian hadn't changed the item according to Kang Sunayan. It would be he slaps the man's head on the table after grabbing him by the hair. The potions on the table fell as a result of this blow, which also generated a lot of death demon screams. In agony and sobs loudly, he claims that he is doing something very wrong right now. If he signals they reign, the adventurous guild room Kang's high and acknowledged his point of view and agreed that he was correct. He appreciates him reminding him. He lifts the man back.